When you are buying a home, whether you're going to live in it or it's going to be an investment property, you almost always have to have an appraisal. So let's talk about how that affects the real estate closing process as a whole. I'm Tiffany Weber, and I am a real estate attorney in the Lake Norman area of North Carolina, and we put out videos like this all the time so that we can share with you education, information, tips on the home buying process and real estate law generally. All right, so let's get right into it. Why do these appraisals matter so much? Well, frankly, appraisals can affect whether you can even buy the home or not. So what is the purpose of an appraisal? Put simply, an appraisal is the process of figuring out what the home is actually worth in the market. So just because you and a seller agree on a price doesn't mean that the lender believes that it's worth that much. So they have an appraiser come out to verify whether the home is worth what you're paying for it and if it makes sense for them to lend money towards your purchase of the home. So before closing, an appraiser is going to go out to the home. They're going to do some market analysis. They're going to compare the home with its recent comps or similar homes to figure out what it's actually worth. And they're going to report that to the lender and to you. And the lender is going to make sure that the amount they intend to loan you checks out compared to what the home is worth. When you get your appraisal report after the appraisal is completed, some buyers don't know, but they have no obligation to share that information with the seller. And it is very common for sellers to ask because they want to know, okay, did I make a good deal? So you don't have to share that information, you can keep it private. I personally think this concept is easier to understand with examples. So let's say you and a seller agree that you are going to buy and the seller is going to receive $100,000 for the purchase of their home. And the appraiser comes out and great, the home is worth $100,000. That's awesome. So that means if you put 20% down, you pay $20,000 and the lender loans you $80,000, you're not gonna have to pay PMI. Now let's say the appraiser goes out and the home is only worth $90,000. Well, now the lender is going to loan you less money and you're going to have to put more money down so that you don't have to pay PMI if that's something that matters to you. So you may not be paying $20,000, you may be paying $30,000 or more because the home is not worth as much as you agreed to pay for it. Now the opposite can also be true. There could be a chance that the home comes in value way higher than what you agreed to pay for it. In that case, you're going to have significant equity in the home right off the bat. If you have been watching the housing market this year, then you know things are a little wacky, and that means that houses are going for way above asking price sometimes. And that means that appraisals are not always coming in at the contract price. They're coming in at something more like what market value actually is. And that can mean that you may not even be able to buy the home because you might not have enough cash to be able to put down to make up the difference in what the lender will loan you and what you actually need to pay to buy the house. And some ways that buyers are trying to remedy that when they're making offers and kind of satisfy sellers that they will be able to complete the deal no matter what the appraisal comes in at, is they are offering appraisal addendums with the contract. So I get requests for these multiple times a week from an agent or from a buyer, and they're saying, okay, we agree to this price, but if the appraisal comes in low, no matter what, we're not going to go back and renegotiate the price. The buyer will agree to come up with the cash to make up the difference because they're really desperate to not lose out on yet another offer. So we do see that quite a lot. It's not always that way when it's more of a buyer's market, but that's a very common theme this year of people being worried about appraisals not coming in high enough. So they're doing anything they can to make their offer stand out in this crowded market. Now, when it comes to who performs the appraisal, the lender chooses the appraiser. You don't pick your own appraiser. You could have your own appraisal done, but it's not really going to help you because the lender is going to rely on their own appraiser. Now that may scare some buyers that you don't get to choose your own appraiser, but consider that lenders are in the business of making loans, not of turning loans away. So it is in their interest that your house actually appraises for what the contract price is so that the deal doesn't fall through. That's one less loan that the lender will make if the appraisal is bad. So don't think that the appraiser is out to get you. They're just out there to find out what the home is really worth. Now that is a little bit of an art and a little bit of a science. I have to be honest, that's one job I wouldn't want to do. The second is be a family lawyer, so that is a really hard job. Usually appraisals happen in the first half of the closing process because the lender wants that information earlier on, but there are only so many appraisers to go around, so depending on the schedule, it could happen a little bit later in the process. So there's no one size fits all or specific time that the appraisal is going to happen. All right, that is appraisals in a nutshell. I hope that was helpful. Again, I'm Tiffany Weber. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you in the next video.